Good afternoon, I'm Louis Ryan and these are your sports headlines at 3. Manchester United have appointed Ralf Rangnick as their new manager until the end of the season. The former RB Leipzig and Hoffenheim boss will then move into a consultancy role at the club. United aren't the only club with management under scrutiny at the moment. Everton boss Rafa Benitez is odds-on favourite to be the next Premier League manager to lose his job. Our reporter Owen Smith has more.
Thanks, Louis. After a tough result on the weekend, the Everton away end was clearly unsettled, shown by some rather volatile videos on social media. We spoke to some fans today and asked whether Rafa Benitez is the right man for the job.
I think he's the best available manager on the market that there is that Everton could actually hope for. Because if you think about it, there's Manchester United, the biggest club in the world. They can't get no one. They've got someone like as a standing manager. Who else is there? There's no one.
Looking ahead to the derby, Everton fans are sceptical about their ability to compete with the Liverpool side in top form.
I'm scared about the derby, I'll be honest with you. There's too many, Everton have got too many inferior players. They've got too many injuries, and it's just a case of, I don't know what. As an Everton fan, I'm really frightened. As you know, I hate them. I can't stand Liverpool at all.
Thanks, Owen. Tranmere face Harrogate Town tomorrow night in the Football League Trophy's second round. Their home game against Stevenage was cancelled on Saturday after strong winds caused damage to the main stand roof. All tickets have been refunded, but the date for the rearranged fixture still remains undecided. Fixtures will start to pile up even more for the Super White Army over Christmas, and Tranmere sports scientist Ruben McCrory wants to warn about the possibilities of injuries.
Well, I think it's very important that players have to be rotated, because I believe that at the start of the month there's got 3 games within 7 days. So not every player from the first team squad is going to play 90 minutes for every game. It's vital that they're rotated. But it's also important that in training you just manage the injury risks of the players, and you can't train them 100% every day. I feel they've only got 2 days or 3 days rest between games. So it's really important to manage the intensity of what they're doing to ensure that no one gets injured.
Over to women's football now, and Merseyrail ladies were in action this weekend, registering a 2-0 win against West Didsbury and Chiltern AFC. The South Liverpool side extend their lead at the top of the North West Women's Regional League, as they currently sit 6 points clear of second place Tranmere. Merseyrail manager Lee Austin has reiterated how important these home wins are.
I don't think we were ever under real pressure or a real threat to us not winning the game, but it wasn't the prettiest thing to watch, but at the end of the day 3 points is 3 points. Especially going in, to the turn. You've got 2 away games coming up now. 3 actually on the bounce, and then in the turn of year we've got 5 at home, and we have to maintain this sort of being our sort of fort. We can't let anything slip at home.
Off to the ice now, with Widnes Wells losing to top of the table Solway Sharks in a penalty shootout. And Stone Lake has more.
Solway Sharks defeated Widnes Wild after a penalty shootout last night. Player coach Richard Hagger was proud of the performance against the top of the table side, regardless of the result.
It's a bit of a shame, but against the Solway team that have been competing at the top for the last few seasons, us newly promoted, now we're starting to build on what we've got as a team. So we're starting to build on what we got from the beginning. We're gelling, we're working as a team.
Lithuanian Vlad Volkanov kept the home side in the game in the third period. He scored 2 goals to get them all the way to the penalty shootout.
He can put the puck in the net from whatever angle, from whatever place on the ice, and again, to be able to play with somebody like that, it makes my life a lot easier as well, knowing where he's going to go and being able to have that link play between the two of us.
Nottingham Lions are next up for the Wild as they complete back-to-back home games at Planet Ice in Widnes.
Just because they're at the bottom and Solway at the top doesn't mean it's going to be any easier, so we'll be giving it everything out there next week again to make sure that the result goes in our favour.
Widnes head into this weekend's game 7th in the NIHL Division 1 North. Nottingham currently sit in last.
Formula 1 world champion Lewis Hamilton says Sir Frank Williams' legacy will live on forever following his death at the age of 79. F1 president Stefano Domenicali called the Williams racing founder a giant of the sport, while George Russell, who drives for the team, described him as more than a boss. Former British racer Sir Jackie Stewart told Sky Sports News that Williams changed the sport in many ways.
From the Middle East, he brought a very severe amount of money into the team that he knew he had to have to compete with the Ferraris and the other teams. So he was a great man for going out and breaking new ground.
Liverpool John Moore's Gaelic football team beat crosstown rivals University of Liverpool 7-20 to 3 points on Sunday. They look ahead to a friendly with St Brendan's next week.
Liverpool John Moore's Gaelic football team made easy work of the cross-city rivals University of Liverpool, defeating them by a comfortable margin of 36 points. Substitute Danny McGill weighed in with an impressive 2-9 off the bench, despite the forward struggling with a hamstring injury. I spoke with John Moore's captain Oran Foy on the win.
Yeah, it was an easier game than expected. It wasn't really a challenge for us. I'm not sure we got much out of it, to be honest. But it was good to get boys playing who hadn't really played before.
The Moors will now look ahead to the weekend with an away fixture to reigning All-British champions St Brendan's. Foy believes the Manchester side will pose a much stronger challenge, but is hopeful they can retain their 100% record to start off the season.
Next weekend will be a bigger challenge against St Brendan's, who are currently the British champions. So it'll be a good test for us to see where we stand, and hopefully we can maintain our 100% record to the season.
That's all from me. This has been Davog McKee reporting for Mersey Sport Live.
Merseyside is steeped in horse racing heritage, and a huge part of that is local jockey Martin Dwyer. He won the Epsom Derby in 2006 and has 5 major wins to his name. Dwyer grew up in the shadow of Aintree and has spoken to us about his experience with the sport.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was just surreal. I came into the sport, a kid from a council estate. I didn't learn to ride till I was like 14, 15. And it was like everything was kind of hard, but I had to do it myself. There was no, a lot of jockeys come into it. Some of the Irish jockeys, they learn to ride before they can walk. The families, the jockeys' families are involved in it. The dads are trainers and stuff. They get going. It's a bit. So I'm quite proud of the fact I came in, did it all myself. Nobody helped me. So when I won the Derby, it was like, Jesus Christ, when I first came into racing, I thought, I hope I can make it a jockey and get rides. And then when I started to get rides, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've done this. Then I had a winner. My first winner, I was like, Jesus, I can't believe I've had a winner. And then when you start, you're like, I just couldn't believe that I'd won the Derby.
England cricket captain Joe Root insists he stands by his statement that he cannot recall witnessing any instances of racism at Yorkshire. His former county teammate Azim Rakif gave a harrowing testimony to MPs about the abuse he received over 2 spells at the club. Rafiq also said that he found Root's denial hurtful, something the pair have discussed over text message.
If there are oversights on my part, then that's an area which we all have to learn from, and I have to learn from. And I think there's so much work that has to be done. There's so much energy that has to be thrown into this, and there has to be a real want of drive to make a real difference.
Closer to home, we spoke to the chairman of Liverpool Competition Cricket League, John Williams, about what he's done to combat racism in the city.
The county cricket club has set up this hotline for people to report any incidents that they want to incident, and we've written out with that hotline to all our clubs.
I've been Louis Ryan, and you've been listening to Mersey Sport Live. Be sure to check us out at Mersey Sport Live on Twitter and head over to www.merseysportlive.co.uk for your latest Merseyside news.